Christiana here for Card Player TV, and I've got Jeff Williams here, also known as Yellow Sub 86 Online. Thanks so much for coming for this edition of Strategy.
Thank you.
So we're going to talk about playing 6-max tournaments. First of all, when you're sitting down and you're looking around the table and getting ready to play in the early stages, what kinds of things are you looking for, and what's the most important part about playing the first beginning levels in a 6-max tournament?
Well, there's a couple things that I look for. Like in the smaller, like the 1500 6-max, you didn't start with too many chips. You started at 4500, so you have to play a little bit more snug. You can't really gamble it up as much because you're under 100 big blinds to start the tournament. So you kind of want to look and see if you can pick on the spots at your table a little bit. Get into some pots with them, and take it down, play a small ball, to quit and grind you. And but in a deeper tournament like the 5K, you can kind of I hate to say gamble it up, but call raises and play pots, get a little bit deeper into post-flop play with the players. You want to try to position is very, very huge in 6-max, since a lot of the pots are going to be contested on multiple streets. But you kind of have to play a little bit tighter early, just because there are no antes. There's no incentive to steal the blinds. I mean, by playing tighter early.
Okay.
But you want to stay in position and keep the pot small when you don't have the goods.
By playing in position, are you calling on the button to cut off raises pretty light, just to be able to be in position and kind of feel your way through after that?
I am actually. I played a hand yesterday in the 6-max where I called up to a button raise. I think it was 1-2 with an ante with 6-9 of diamonds. It was a cutoff raise, and I called on the button because the kid playing to my right was good, obviously. So he has a pretty wide range there. So we can play a pot where I have position and a hand that can flop real big. And if he pounds the flop in the turn, then I can just let it go, and it's not a huge dent to my stack.
What are you looking for when you're thinking about re-raising in position with what kind of hands? Because obviously if you're pounding position and trying to isolate, you want to be 3-betting, but great hands don't come along all that often in that perfect spot, so. Oh,
for sure. And so you do have to widen your 3-betting range up, and include some suited connectors. And I don't like to re-raise small pocket pairs because those are the ones that can you can win big pots with if you like to just take a flop and then maybe stack someone or something. But you can include I don't like to re-raise too junky of a hands. I have been known to re-raise. I re-raised 4-2 offsuit yesterday. But I thought it was a very good spot because Lee Watkinson had opened for a min raise plus 25 chips or something, and then the cutoff had called very fast, which is usually not an indication that he has a huge hand or anything. So I thought it would be a good spot to just squeeze and take it both. Just take the pot right there.
Now, later in the tournament, when everybody is pounding position, raising in the cutoff, whenever it comes around, and you're in the blinds, how do you know when you need a 3-bet or kind of defend your blinds because everybody is being so aggressive in position?
Well, I guess it's kind of a function of your stack size as well. With a 50 blind stick, you can kind of defend a little bit wider. You can call with Queen Jack and stuff, and kind of take some speculative hands post flop. Because if you do, if you have another 50 big blind stack and you flop huge, you can win a really big pot and put yourself in contention. But when you're a little bit shorter, 25, 30 blinds, you really can't be calling. You have to be, putting people to decisions because everyone's going to, deeper in the tournament, you're going to be faced with a lot of good players, and they're going to be making a lot of small raises and, putting you to the test. So you have to shove back, and that's why 6-max tournaments are such high variance because, you have to make your shoving ranges so wide that, to stay, up with the blinds and the antes that, it becomes, if you have 2 4s and I have Queen Jack, it just, the money goes in, and whoever wins that becomes the next bracelet winner.
Well, when you're playing in the tournament and you're looking for weak spots, what kinds of mistakes are those players making that you're kind of capitalizing on and playing in a 6-max tournament?
Well, a lot of spots at the table you can pick out right away because they're defending their blinds almost 75 to 100%. Sometimes people over-adjust for 6-max and think that since the blinds come around a third of the time as fast, that they have to be playing every hand and check raising huge on flops just so they can stay up with the chips. But poker still is a game that's going to be won by the best hand, and if you wait for your good hands and get paid off, you still will, and it's not like you need to go crazy. So these bad players will call out of the blinds and then check fold way too often, and you can just pick out the spots like that real easy and just pick on them.
Okay, well, how does your early position hand ranges differ since you are 6-max, with only 6 players at the table? Are you opening with hands like ace-8 and stuff that you wouldn't at a full table, or are you still kind of playing snug under the gun and stuff?
Well, again, it depends on who's in the blinds, because those are the people who are going to have the discount on your raise, and kind of how your table's playing as well. Like, at a real snug table, you can get away with opening, a ton of stuff under the gun because it's really the hijack, or maybe the hijack plus 1. I don't know.
Hijack plus 1, yeah.
Yeah, at a full table. But if the table's playing real snug and it's a bunch of old dudes and they're just folding everything, then you can open very wide. But if your table's a bunch of like 25 big blind internet stacks that are like going to be shoving on your raises huge, then you might even fold ace-9 there or ace-10. Like you have to kind of decide like you have to look at your table and then decide. You can decide your ranges off that.
Okay, and one more question. I've heard from a lot of internet players that the whole raise times 3 or raise 3 or 4 times the big blind isn't always necessary later in tournaments when the stacks aren't as deep. You can raise 2.5 times. Is that the same for 6-max as well, or what's kind of the difference with your pre-flop raises?
Well, I feel like it's even more applicable in 6-max since you will be opening so many different pots trying to keep up with the blinds and the antes. You can even get away with raising less than 2.5x just because if the stack in the big blind, let's say, has 20 times the big blind, and they're a good player. So if you open to 4,000 at 1,000, 2,000, or 4,500 or something, they can't really call because they're not gonna, they know that you have to either shove all in or fold. So it doesn't, the size of your raise doesn't really matter that much. If you make it 6,000 and they shove, and let's say you're folding, you have 8-6 or something, then you're going to lose 4,000 chips or 6,000 chips. But if you open up to 4,500 and they shove, you only lose 4,500. And I think they're shoving with the same frequency on your smaller raises as they are with your bigger raises, because if you're making that with the same, you're making that raise with this same range of hands with your pocket kings as you are with 8-6, then you can get away with costing yourself less chips when you're folding and winning the same amount of chips when you're winning.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much.
Sure.
Christiana with Jeff Williams for Cardfire TV.